Good evening and welcome to the fifth round in the Tasman Racing League Road Series here this season. We're live from Road Atlanta here tonight to bring us to the halfway stage of the season. After we've completed 40 laps around here, we'll have 5 rounds down and 5 still to go as we race to the end of March and to find out who's going to be the champion here this season. A question that's got a lot more interesting in the last couple of weeks, I think it's fair to say. We've already been to Daytona, Spa, Adelaide and Phillip Island, but after the Australian doubleheader, it's back to North America for the next 2 rounds of the proper championship here at Road Atlanta, and after next week's race in the mid-season classic, it will be back to Virginia for round number 6, which will be our penultimate North American round of this season. It is myself, Ewan O'Leary, John Wright and Boone Blake in the commentary box here for you tonight. And John, good to be alongside you for this one once again. It looked after 2 rounds that Matt Webber was really going to run away with this pretty comfortably, in fact. But I think the last couple of weeks have shown us that it isn't quite going to be as simple as that.
Indeed, it's not. Good evening, Ewan. Good morning, Ewan, and deference to the fact that Ewan and I are both up at the crack of dawn. Good evening, viewers. But yes, no, it did look like it was all going to be the Matt Webber show. I even did joke round 2 that it was the Matt Webber show, but certainly the rest of the field absolutely reeling him in. A couple of interesting results to lead us to this 5th round, and it's absolutely anybody's championship going forward. And Road Atlanta, home of Petit Le Mans. The track does look like a bit of a lopsided pork chop. It's going to be an absolutely incredible race out here. We've got a stacked field once again, Ewan, and yeah, very much looking forward to see how this one plays out, especially on lap 1 through that downhill chicane.
Yeah, indeed, and indeed through the opening sector, to be honest, on lap number 1, going to be very interesting as well. Let's just qualifying's coming to an end at the moment, take a look at the championship standings before we get into that, because qualifying's been very interesting actually. But Matt Webber does still lead, only by 1 point now though, ahead of Lewis Bahadja, with Nicholas Heath then only 23 points behind. Oscar Dobbins is 39 behind in 4th place, and then the gaps do get a bit bigger. Jeremy Newton rounding out the top 5, Bradley Austin, Kyle Douglas, Patrick Robinson all have more than 200 points, Shannon Corbett, Samuel Maida round out the top 10, followed by Darren Justice, Martin Walker, Stephen Scully. The gap gets a little larger then as again. Ben Christian, David Noden tied on points, and they see the rest of them all the way down. A lot of drivers have scored points so far, but that gap is very close now between Bahadja and Webber. Neither of them, though, have taken any place inside the top 3 in qualifying. 25 drivers have just set a time in a rather short, it felt like quite a short session really. It's obviously no shorter than normal, but it just doesn't take very long to complete the lap times required here at Road Atlanta. We're going to get a full pace lap here in a moment to talk through it, so let's run through the grid before they get underway. Jason Snedden is the one who's taken the pole in the end by less than a tenth in front of Tim Seibern. Drew Collins then 3rd, and then it's Matt Webber, who is going to get some real challenge here today by the looks of things, which is good news for us. Oscar Dobbins and Nicholas Heath then on row 3, 2 drivers who are inside the top 4 in the championship indeed. They're starting on row 3 together, with Darren Justice and Lewis Bahadja starting from 8th position. Tim Pattinson just over a second past pole position, with Stephen Scully rounding out the top 10 there at the bottom as well. 11th is Rafael Custodio, with Jordan Nelson alongside. Samuel Maida and Darrell O'Sullivan on row 7 in front of Manuel Dodra and Kyle Douglas, Martin Walker and David Carney then on row 9 in front of Brody Daff and Rob Tilley. Ben Christian outside the top 20 with AJ Gilroy, Jack Toby, Jay Stern, Greg Goodfellow rounding out the 23 drivers in the field. And very shortly, and indeed now, they will pull away for their formation lap. AJ Gilroy is not taken to the grid, but seemingly is going to start, starting from the pit lane at the moment. As now you can see on the left-hand side, they all pull away. Boone Blake, of course, also with us here tonight. Good to have you with us, Boone. I mean, it is a shake-up in qualifying. Matt Webber and Lewis Bahagia both down the order. Neither of them inside the top three, and it's Jason Snedden taking pole. I mean, a surprising qualifying session in the order we've ended up here.
It's great to be here, Ewan, and absolutely a surprise. Jason Snedden, the part-timer. He only started 2 races out of 10 last season. He's only started 1 race, Phillip Island, last week this season. But he shows that when he comes here and when he competes, he has pace to compete with the best of them. And what's really interesting about this start to me is Matt Webber down in P4. What we've seen all season from Webber and all of last season as well is that when he qualifies on pole or on the front row, he gets away and usually no one can touch him for the rest of the race. But when Webber has to work his way through traffic, a lot of the time he starts to have a little bit more trouble. It'll be curious to see which Matt Webber we get tonight.
Yeah, it certainly will. And what about pit strategy here tonight? 40 laps over the course of the day. Are we expecting the usual pattern with regards to pit stops?
I would imagine it would be a pretty standard one-stopper for this race, yes. The one thing that is curious about this track and this race that we haven't seen really so far this season is the weather today. It's a very hot, very dry, windy day here today in Atlanta. 80 degrees air temperature. This racetrack is going to be much hotter than that. It's the hottest track that these drivers have dealt with all season, and I'm curious to see if maybe they're going to pit a little bit earlier. Maybe if some drivers are going to attempt a 2-stop strategy if those tires do start to wear a little bit more than we usually see.
We'll see whether they take 1 or 2 tyres as well. Not unlikely to take all 4 being covered by the fuel, but maybe you can squeeze 1 or 2 in during the pit stop. We'll wait and see as the drivers now come through the chicane. They're going to have to get a lot closer to Snedden than that. Seibern not really getting anywhere near to where he should be. Now he does, as they all get pretty close to each other down towards the final turn. I think some guys were expecting Snedden to go quite early there. He waits. Oh no, and there's a crash in the background. A big crash in the background. In fact, Manuel Dodra starts to find the wall, and there's a safety car immediately. Well, that wasn't a great start, unfortunately. And there is a safety car that now they're going to have to slow down for and hopefully not hit each other as they do. That's scary as well. But not a great start there, John. Immediately, it looks like Manuel Dodra in the background is the one who's gone in the wall.
Yeah, I believe it was Dodra there. Sorry, we're going at quarter pace. Don't know why that's happening. There we go. But yeah, coming down the hill. What's going on there? Oh, yeah. Contact with the Porsche up the middle there, Ewan. It looks like, yeah, 3 cars jockeying for 1 car space, and I think we all know how that ends. The laws of physics definitely kicking in there, although with the 80-degree track temperatures and ginger-headed Scotsman, I can assure you that that one almost had me reaching for the side barriers as well. I would melt out there, but yeah, Manuel Dodra finding himself in the wall early doors, and that is officially, I believe, the quickest yellow flag we've seen here at TRL, and that includes last season's lap 1 turn 1 safety car in the oval. So that is an interesting start. Drivers weaving to get themselves some temperature back in the tyres, which shouldn't be too difficult given the temperature that we've got out there. And we've had cars coming. Yeah, Dodra's coming into the pits unsurprisingly with a meatball flag, so that was a monster contact he's had with the wall, and they're going to have to reset again, Ewan. This is an interesting one. You get yourself geared up on the warm-up lap, safety car goes in, you put your foot on the loud pedal, and suddenly you've got to take your foot off again because the stewards have got themselves a yellow flag parade waving you on by. So a quick reset there. I mean, yeah, psychologically, I wonder how much of effect this is going to have on the drivers. They're going to need to keep their powder dry going down that hill once again. I mean, yeah, if we see that again, yellow flag after the yellow flag. But it is a tricky course, as you know, Ewan. We're seeing the shots on screen just now. It is a difficult course. It's got a lot of change. It's almost like an elongated Brands Hatch, in my opinion, with the amount of ups and downs that you have to go on through the corners. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers now handle this restart, because Snedden almost got away at the start there. He was a bit further ahead of the rest of the field, and he might look to do a Max Verstappen here at the start of the restart.
Yeah, Snedden's done the first lap on the safety car very slowly. Now he's doing the second one quite quickly. But where is it? I mean, where's the pace car? I know. I don't know. I don't quite understand what's going on at the moment, to be honest with you. Sometimes, and this could take quite some sorting now. But anyway, we've got an hour and 50 minutes to do this race, so we'll have some time to figure it out. Sometimes when the safety car comes out and either it is not actually returned to its position in the pit lane yet because it's the start of the race, as was the case there, or indeed it's only just past turn 1 or it's just at turn 1, so it's kind of confusing as to what lap they should be picked up on. It really messes with the system. Tim Simon's into pit lane mid-time, and a lot of guys are in. I wonder whether pit lane is open this time round. I think it has, but that just shows you the guys are actually having to drive quite quickly to catch up to the safety car, which could be quite a long way up the road. See the race control message continuing to pop up here. This is going to take some sorting out, but let's see what happens in the stops here. Wouldn't imagine anyone going up on the jacks. It's just going to be a top off on fuel. But Boone, are you surprised with the amount of drivers who have come in here? Because we're not expecting them to be able to go to the end from here. They're just trying to open options up for themselves later on.
I'm not surprised by the amount of drivers that have come in, Ewan, and I will tell you why. It's because we start on a half tank of fuel in this series, in the TRL Road Series. So when these drivers come in for a full tank, they have fulfilled their mandatory pit stop, and it is entirely possible, depending on what they're seeing, that some drivers may be banking on cautions to be able to stretch the tank of fuel they get right now all the way to the end of this race. Given that they can usually do about 50 to 60% of the race distance on the half tank of fuel they start with, I think it's entirely possible that we could see some of these drivers who have just stopped go all the way to the end on this tank of fuel. I seem to remember a race last season where Tim Siben, one of the drivers who stopped, executed a very similar strategy to very good effect.
Okay, I don't know if I misremember, but I seem to remember at Adelaide or something, lots of guys coming in under a safety car and then still not being able to get to the end of the race by the end. But I don't know. I might have invented that.
Does ring a bell with me as well, actually.
Okay.
I definitely remember. A second pit stop and a few drivers something to do a bit of fuel saving towards the end with some of the pace dropping off, certainly in the closing stages. So. It's going to be an interesting one to see where they all filter back in, especially now Buhajar, one of our championship protagonists, is down in 17th position.
Yeah, indeed. And he's catching up at the moment. Carl Douglas comes in this lap, catching up at the moment with Tim Siben to the back end of the safety car train, which is taking some doing at the moment, though they're going rather slowly. Oh dear. What is happening here? Why is Snedden not leading anymore? And who's that in front of him? I don't quite understand at the moment, to be honest. So some people have been caught out here, I think, and Jay Stern and AJ Gilroy are now behind the pace car, but they're in front of the leaders. So why aren't they being let past? I'm not entirely sure. If they restart like this, it's going to be a catastrophe, because the slowest guys are going to be starting at the front with everybody waiting to overtake them while they're all very close to one another off the start of this race. You'd hope they're going to get let past here before we go back green, but at the moment they've just sat at the front of the train. Oh dear, this is one of the more difficult safety car. And here we go. So Stern has been let past, and so has it's not Gilroy. Maybe it is. Gilroy not appearing on the it is. Gilroy not appearing on the tower there on the left hand side. I have a feeling he might have. Gilroy had that problem last week, and it was driving me insane.
Yeah, and you know this too. I spent 40 minutes last night going over the driver overrides to make sure he was in there. So I will be taking a hammer to SDK software when this broadcast ends. But yeah, no, AJ, there you go. He only appears when we click on him again.
I know. What's up with that? What? I've never seen that before. Oh dear. Yeah. Nearly off the road through turn 1. Thankfully, he's not going to be caught a lap down now. And I think he's going to be given the opportunity to catch up to the back of the train as well. It doesn't seem to be lights off this time round. So will have completed about 5 laps of this race under safety car here, but it is necessary. In terms of, and the lights go off now, we'll see whether it gets extended again. The thing about this going on for such a long time here, Boone, is that these guys basically won't have used any fuel for the first 5 laps of the race. Now there's only 35 laps, of course they will have used some, of course, but there's 35 laps of this race left, and they've got still quite a lot of fuel on board, so these guys have their strategy opened up for the rest of the day a little bit as well. So this race is just completely changed, whether you've pitted or not.
Well, it's going to be highly conditional based on the track, based on the number of cautions we get for the rest of the day, especially whether any drivers who pitted earlier are going to be able to make it all the way to the end on the fuel they have now. But this situation with this extended safety car period and the possibility of more safety cars in the future does sort of play into the hands of those who have already stopped, because at worst, they're not going to have to do any fuel saving the rest of the way. They can always just take another pit stop. And it just really opens up the strategy for those drivers who did choose to stop. I think that we're likely going to see our winner out of that group. I personally wouldn't be surprised if it's either Tim Seibin or Kyle Douglas.
Yeah, I think Seibin was looking good, actually. I mean, hard to tell, really, from one straight of racing. But I think, based on qualifying as well, we'll see how they go. We'll try and keep, we'll try and split our attention to between the front of the race and what could be the front of the race, which is sort of guys from 13th backwards. Lewis Bahagia is one of those, as John mentioned, one of the big championship contenders. Lewis Bahagia taking on the different strategy, and we have been told the pace car is in this lap. So, despite what you might see on the top of the screen, we will see the pace car pulling this time round. Snedden executed well on the initial start of this race. This is going to feel very, very similar to that, although there'll be a few different people around him. The top 12 or 13 have all stayed out so far, so that means there are some different names around him, with some of them pitting, but it's a very, very similar scenario to what Snedden had at the beginning of this race. In comes the pace car now, and we are ready to go for take two here from Road Atlanta in the Tasman Racing League Road Series, and Snedden does not get the jump this time. Drew Collins on the outside line goes very well. There's a big break in the field there. The second half of the field caught asleep as Collins goes round the outside into turn 1. There's another spin. Dobbins and Heath get into contact there. 3rd and 4th in the championship. Oh no, there's more trouble! More trouble over the top of the hill. Dobbins gets spun around again. He's in the middle of the pack. Oh, he's just going to be avoided by everybody, thankfully. It's another chaotic start here from Road Atlanta, but it looks like we've gotten away with it, John, a little bit better this time round. Oh, maybe not. The leader.
Yeah, no, sorry you go, Ewan. Yeah, that is the leader. Talking about chaotic starts, Road Atlanta. Wow, who thought Road Atlanta would be this difficult? In the list of turn number 1s that you throw your hat in the ring for being very difficult, Suzuka certainly, Monza, Spa can be tricky, but Road Atlanta, wow. Down the hill and over the hill, and no yellow flag this time. And Matt Webber, who we were talking about, Boone mentioned, he can qualify in the front and run it from the front, can sometimes have difficulty getting through the traffic. Well, basically what he did was he called his car Moses, parted the Red Seas, and he's taking the lead of the race while cars and championship protagonists are forlorn around him, and Lewis Buhagiar has rocketed back up to 4th position. That surely puts him in a monstrously strong position going into the end of the race, because he is, up 4 positions on where he qualified, despite being 7 positions down on where he started under the yellow flags after he's taken his pit stop. But it's all changed. Nicholas Heath, there's going to be cars coming at the pit soon. This is absolutely wild start, and no yellow flag this time around. Matt Webber doing Matt Webber things. He's running away with it while everyone else is running off to the sides and to the pits, and it is chaos. There's more positions changing all the way down through the field, and we've got Darren Justice leading the way for the Silvers. He's up in 3rd place with Buhagiar absolutely piling on the pressure, Ewan, with more cars in the pits. It's a fun start here at Road Atlanta for round number 5.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Buhagiar out of the all-important turn 7, really. It decides to run all the way down the back straight and decides whether you're going to be able to make an overtake. It seems that Buhagiar is going to, though. Darren Justice just in front here. and surely he's going to be overtaken here. Bahadja, the only one in the top 9, by the way, to have stopped so far. He's on the brakes down the inside, and he's on his way through. So, I mean, he absolutely has made a brilliant start here as Lewis Bahadja, but how can he continue it on now? I mean, Webber is leading this race, which I think is going to be the main problem for Lewis Bahadja from this point on. He just sets the fastest lap of the race that time round, unsurprising for the race leader. But, you know, it's hard to decide who's in a better position at the moment. Is it Bahadja because of the pit strategy, or is it Webber because he's been able to get himself to the front of this race? And let's not forget, you know, Bahadja's gained a lot of places, but Webber's gained 3 places pretty much entirely on that restart lap, because he didn't make many places on the actual start of this race. And as Snedden went into the wall and Dobbins had trouble, Nicholas Heath as well, and Matt Webber was just able to come through, and he's had a very good restart here as well.
Yeah, there's chopping and changing. I'm just looking down the field. Brodie Daft's made up 11 places. Jack Tovey has made up 13 places. Jay Stern has made up 10. All 3 of those drivers were down after the first safety car. They've rocketed through the field. And Tim Sybin, that we mentioned, he has really struggled after these restarts. What is that? 15 places down. I need to clean my glasses a little bit. 15 places down for Sybin, and he's right on the back of a 3-way battle. And AJ Scarlett Pimpernel Gilroy, Raphael Custodi as well. There's quite a few drivers that are appearing late onto this. Yeah, let me see if I can fix that in the background, Ewan, while we watch the action from Bahadja.
Me and Boone will chat away for the moment. But it's those pink drivers just to on the tower who seem to be disappearing unless you're looking at them. Not sure why, but that's my observation anyway. Bahadja up to 3rd then, and he will chase down Drew Collins. So what do you made of the restart here, Boone? I mean, great restart from Matt Webber and also Lewis Bahadja, as we saw, but you know, it's easy to forget, he won't, but Jason Snedden, unfortunately, spinning from the race lead. He'd restarted from the front, got off to another good restart there, and unfortunately spun from the very front. He is back in the race now, but is an awful long way down the field. It was a very, very chaotic restart.
I mean, it's got to just be heartbreaking for Jason Snedden coming in, qualifying on pole, his first career pole in the TRL. And it wasn't a fluke pole either. He had the pace to possibly win this race. I mean, he had a couple of great restarts. He was holding everyone off. And we haven't seen, unfortunately, how it all came undone for Jason yet, but it didn't necessarily look like it was his fault there. So that's just got to be a massively disappointing result for him. Massive disappointment also for Oscar Dobbins, who's been quietly under the radar, one of the phenomenal drivers of this season. This race, he's back out there again, but he's in 20th position. Like Snedden, he's far enough down at this point that he's just out there to try to finish some laps and pick off a couple positions. So it's got to just be so disappointing for both of those guys, but this couldn't have worked out any better for Matt Webber. Half the cars that started in front of him that were going to give him problems already gone from the race without him having to do anything.
Yes, that is very helpful. But what do you make of the strategy scenario between Webber and Bahadja? Because Lewis Bahadja is the only driver at the moment inside the top 8 with that pit stop having been made. As you mentioned, it was 24 seconds long, which suggests he has taken quite a lot of fuel on board, as he suggested he would do, down on pit lane there under that safety car. What position does that leave us in here? Is Bahadja actually the race leader here, even if he has to stop? Because, you know, even if he does have to make another stop, like what we saw for most of the guys at Adelaide when we last saw a safety car, his pit stop still might be shorter than what Webber's is to come, and the gap is only 4 seconds between the two of them. So are we looking at a net race leader in Lewis Bahadja at the moment, do you think?
I think right now we are, Ewan, but I just don't know if that's going to hold up for the entire race. Bahadja has a tendency to go out fast, burn up his tires a little bit, overheat the car, and then drop off pace as the session goes on. And he's sort of all gas, no brakes at times. And I'm curious to see if, like we saw in the Iowa Oval race last night, we're going to potentially see Lewis use up his tires here a little bit early and drop back down the field. If he can stay within 5-6 seconds of Matt Webber, though, I think he's absolutely got to be in the catbird seat to win this race, because even if he does have to stop again, it's just going to be a little splash and go, and Matt Webber's going to have to take almost a full tank of fuel.
Yeah, well, indeed. Nicholas Heath, meantime, has got back onto the back of Darren Justice for 4th position. Brody Daft just got past Darrell O'Sullivan for 6th place, although it's not entirely... No, it wasn't done, and indeed O'Sullivan's back in front again. Pattinson only just in front of Carl Douglas. Ben Christian is then heading a massive group, really, all the way down the field, although Tim Seiben, part of that, he's just gotten through on Jay Stern up into 13th position. We'll try and get a view on any of those battles in a moment, but it is a big group back there, and Seiben will be looking to get to the front of it. Jay Stern right behind him at present, in towards the chicane, and Seiben holds on to 13th at least, but wants to be moving forward, really. He's already down 11 places so far in this race. Has stops, of course, so that does affect things. As meantime, that is one of the Mustangs staying out of the way. Looks like Manuel Dodra, maybe, towards turn 1, I think it is, and pulls out the way rather nicely. The head of the group, Ben Christian, I think, in what is actually 13th place because of those drivers you can't see, and then the rest of them all trailing behind. But this is where it's so impressive, or puts into perspective rather, Lewis Bahadja's performance so far, because it's he's come through the field so efficiently. Tim Seiben is still all the way down in 13th position at the moment, a long way back.
Well, Buhajer, he's been uniquely successful on that alternate strategy. I'm not entirely sure how he's done it, but it's been massively impressive from him. He's lost hardly any time to the lead cars of Matt Weber and Drew Collins, and he continues to stay within about 4 seconds right now. And if he can maintain this pace through Weber's pit stop, he's going to be in an outstanding position to at least take the lead of this race and potentially win it. Buhajer right now has all the momentum in the world in the championship. He's won 6 of his last 7 races here in the TRL across all series, and he's looking to make it 7 of his last 8 here today.
Yeah, indeed. That's Aston Martin just pulling out the way, and Brody Daft going through. Nicholas Heath is ahead of Darren Justice for 4th position, and looks like it's staying that way further up the road. But that group from 11th place, Martin Walker on back, looks pretty close. Oh dear, someone's gone straight on down there, and it is Heath and Justice. They've gone off together, and one of them, Nicholas Heath, is not going to be moving far with a car looking like that. That's down in towards turn 6, and they both tow back to pit lane. That is a big incident indeed on the way in towards turn number 6. And that has given these 3 out front an even bigger lead. 15 seconds over the rest of the field, as Bahadja loses about half a second to Matt Weber that time around. That looked like a pretty big crash there, John. I mean, it was Heath and Justice who were fighting it out, and I don't know whether they must have crashed together, but not separately. But we're being told it is under investigation, and it was a very big hit in towards turn 6.
It was indeed, yeah, and it's an easy corner for them to make contact. It looks like one of them just got slightly too anxious on the steering, and they came together. I'm just getting these drivers' standings fixed now. I believe we will have them working in a moment, and we'll pop up a replay of that. Once I get this drop-down menu sorted, hopefully they will now be appearing on the standings.
They are, yeah.
There we go. Yes, we'll give them a temporary team. They might not be quite in the right selection, but yeah, we'll get that sorted and confirmed for next week. But yeah, let's have a look and see. Rafael Custodio is one of the crashes. In fact, this was him going round.
Oh, yeah, right. So he... Oh, no!
Oh!
Goodness me!
Wow.
So he's directly involved in this incident for Heath and Justice.
Yeah.
Justice just arrives on the scene there and has no part to play in that, really. But what was happening there in towards turn 6? I'm not sure I quite understand. Well, obviously we've seen it, but I don't understand.
Is there a blue flag here? I think he goes for the inside line. The Mercedes... Oh, yeah, well, I'm hoping it...
Well,
it wasn't a blue flag, because it did look like the Mercedes was trying to defend the position there when he made contact with the McLaren, sent them all absolutely wildly into the barriers there.
And the number in the window there suggests he was in 4th place at the beginning of the lap. So, yeah, that was a battle for position. Heath is back out onto the racetrack again, and so is Nelson. Who are we? Darren Justice even back out onto the racetrack as well. They're coming back again quickly, but unfortunately, they are having recovered from a pretty big incident. I mean, Boone, it was a battle for position, but to me it looked like Heath just ran into the back there of Custodio and sent him into the wall. In the end, it affected the front 3 completely.
It's a massive shake-up at the front of our race here, and I honestly don't think we could tell who's at fault from that angle. I think that's going to be one for the stewards when they look at it from the behind car camera. As we see Brody Daft spinning out on camera there, that is not ideal for the driver of the 22 Ferrari. He's going to lose a number of places here, potentially dropping out of the top 10 as he waits for the chance to get turned back around. Looked like he just lost it on his own there, Ewan.
Yeah, he did, and he's still waiting for a chance to turn back round again. There isn't actually a TV camera that's going to let us see where he actually ends up, because he's under a bridge. There he goes, and indeed there you go. There's no camera on a bridge. This is AJ Gilroy in the last couple of moments. Wow, that was brave, and perhaps too brave, coming around the outside and trying to dive down the inside again from Oscar Dobbins, maybe that might have been trying to work his way through. People are asking, by the way, if we can see this Snedden incident, because we were distracted at the time. Didn't see it, but he did spin from the lead. So we'll try and get to that. Might be quite a long time ago, but we will have a look back at that. Unfortunately, Jason Snedden all the way down in 22nd position now, because of the incident and indeed the contact with the wall that not only spun him to the back, but actually enforced quite enforced him to toe back to pit lane indeed, and get back going again. Darrell O'Sullivan has a black flag next to his name, by the way. This is him already having crashed.
Yeah, don't have anything for the start of the incident. Unless he made contact with Rob Tilley. Well, because Rob Tilley is quite close by, but I don't think. Okay, so Rob Tilley spins, and there we go. Yeah, Tilley spins. Snedden is a bystander. No, he's not.
No, that's not Snedden. No,
his own incident.
Snedden's had his own incident there. Yeah. What we need to do is rewind to the replay before that, even, and or just further in the past, and then watch the restart or something, because Snedden. Yeah, that wasn't Snedden. That was another Mercedes. I don't know who that was though. Looked a bit like Dobbins, but that can't be his 3rd incident of the day already.
Yes, it can. It's his 4th actually.
Yes, okay.
He's spent more time off track than he has on, and he's got more incidents registered in here than any other single driver at the moment, unfortunately. So Dobbins in the Mercedes having an absolute nightmare start to the race so far. He really not enjoying Road Atlanta. The Snedden incident, I will keep looking, but it might mean live rewinding till we can find exactly what happened, because there is nothing. I mean, it just say he went off track. Tell you what, let's just do this the old-fashioned way. Apologies, folks, but yeah, let's find out what happened. Let's rewind this. Yeah, so it's the same part of the track. Yeah, it's just he comes up the hill, same place that Dobbins has had a mistake. So this seems to be a bit of a slick spot. The car gets unsettled on the curves. Bounce. Wow. And the thing is, Ewan, it didn't even look like he was carrying that much pace into the barrier, but a near 1400 degree spin there would suggest otherwise. And our one-time race leader is now down in 18th position, with cars trying to find their way past him left, right and centre. He jumped back to the pits, and Lewis Buhagiar, net race leader surely.
Oh yeah, we've been discussing that, see whether he actually is or not. The gap continues to grow to Matt Webber, to nearly 7 seconds now. So the more that this gap grows, the more you begin to wonder. We are nearly halfway through the race, though, already. It does fly by at Road Atlanta, given the laps are so short round here. Less than a minute 20. Samuel Maida putting the pressure on to Jack Tovey now. Tovey up 17 places so far. One of the biggest movers, in fact, the biggest mover forward, in fact, up to 6th. Tovey just in front of Maida in towards turn 1 in the highest place battle in the field at the moment. So these battles are just going to slow down a little bit at the front of the field after, I think we can take stock, John, on a very chaotic first half of this race now.
Yes, chaos. Stock take done. Matt Webber, I mean, a dream start for him. It's been, again, we've mentioned this at the start. When he qualifies at the front, he does run away with it. We've seen him in multiple races of difficulty making his way back through the field. Well, the field decided, you know what, Matt? Off you pop. And they've crashed left, right and centre. He's up those 3 places now into the lead. Bahadur didn't have a solid qualifying. He's up 5. So too, I believe that is Tim Pattinson, who's made it up 5 places. But Kyle Douglas and Jack Tovey, a combined 28 places they've made between the two of them. Tovey up 17 spots. Kyle Douglas up 11. We've got so many drivers a lap down. In fact, Rob Tilley is in, where are we now, 16th position. He's up 4 spots, but he is still a lap down with the pit stops. And in fact, if we have a look and see, there is all the drivers that have come in to take a pit. So it's only the top 2 there's only 3 drivers that are currently in the top 10 that haven't taking a pit stop so far. Well, yeah, and Jack Tovey's just come in.
That's about to change because Tovey's in anyway now. So that's now just 2 as Tovey comes up on the jacks now. It does have time for 4 tyres by the looks of things if the stops are as long as what the stops earlier were. But Webber and Collins, the only ones now who still have to stop now inside the top 10. Jay Stern, David Carney further down still have to stop as well, but they're not going to trouble the top scorers by the end of the day. By the looks of things, it's going to be difficult for them to get up there anyway. Halfway officially for Matt Webber here, and Collins is into pit lane. So do we reckon, Boone, this is enforced pit stops because they're about to run out of fuel here after 20 laps or so, or are they strategic calls from the likes of Collins and Tovey to come in at this stage?
I think a lot of it is strategic in that nobody wants to get caught out several laps after everyone else has already pitted. You want to pit with the pack, especially if you like the position where you're at. But what interests me is how long Matt Webber's staying out. It seems like he's got plenty of pace. He's still making a couple tenths a lap, at least on Lewis Buhagiar, and he's starting to bring it into doubt a little bit that Buhagiar is going to be leading this race after the pit cycle. So I think if I'm Matt, I want to just go as far as I can, take it all the way down on fuel, and just try to make pace for as long as you can.
Yeah, I think you do want to extend the stint as long as possible, really, but let's see whether he does. Scully just behind Martin Walker here for 8th position. That's another fight that will continue on, John.
Sorry, yeah, Dobbins has got another black flag.
Oh, God. He is not having a good afternoon, I think it's fair to say. He's tripping up at the moment with Justice and Snedden, who have also had their troubles today. Meantime, into the pit lane is Matt Webber, by the way, from the very front of this race. And there goes round the outside Scully, so a nice easy pass into 8th place. But Lewis Buhagiar now leads this race. Matt Webber into the pit lane is going to end up, I think, even perhaps behind some of those who pitted very early. Collins dropped all the way down to 7th, and that would suggest that Webber could drop 6th to 6th place. Tim Seibern would probably be quite close to Webber, I would have thought, as they come out the pit lane together. Webber drops now behind Douglas. Maida will get through quite easily, but what about Tim Seibern? That's going to be the close one. Very close indeed, actually. And up to speed, Seibern. Not up to speed, Webber. Oh, and he tries to dive there, Seibern. The gap was always going to close into turn 3. Webber in front, but forced to go on the defense. This is going to be tricky down the S's, but there's no chance of overtaking down here, so he can just sort of block the way, and Webber just, by the looks of things, keep 5th place.
Yeah, Matt Webber has done well there to get out of the pits and position the car perfectly on that pit exit. Tim Seidman, as we can see, absolutely all over that rear bumper as they come through the double right-hander and onto the straight. He's got himself a very good position for some slipstream advantage, but of course the Mustang in a straight line, it is mighty. As he said, we should probably rename that car Thor, because it really does go in a straight line very quickly indeed. We can see the McLaren, even in the slipstream, still going to keep pace. Webber is going to be, he's certainly going to be happy to get back out in front of Seidman. He probably would have been aiming for Meader, but we're now going to see if Webber can make his way back through the field. As we said earlier, he does struggle sometimes making his way back through. He started in 4th, he's currently running in 5th place, so he's only lost one net position since the start of the race. But as you guys astutely mentioned, Lewis Bihager is out in the lead. We'll see how that plays out. And Nicholas Heath, it looks like his fresh McLaren is back in the wall again. We're going to see him coming up the hill. Under this bridge has been a bit of a tricky one. Okay, no. He's pulled over and stopped and jumped to the pits for seemingly no reason.
Well, yeah, seemingly no reason means the reason is not in sim, I would imagine.
Yes.
We'll...
I wonder if he's getting a gas inspection as well today.
Very possible.
Very possible.
Gilroy's got a black flag for speeding in the pit lane. We've heard that might have already been and gone in this race. Currently down in 21st, but this meantime is Brady Daff versus Jay Stern for 12th place. Amazing, isn't it? It really is, as Douglas here tries to get past these guys fighting. It's not ideal when you're coming up on lap cars who are fighting amongst themselves. Oh dear, he's making quite hard work of it as well. And Jay Stern's making quite hard to pass. Anyway, it's always amazing, isn't it, how this field spreads out in the second half of the race. I mean, yes, we've been racing for about 24 laps, but actually that's not very long round here, really. And the field has just spread out massively here. It's all down to the trials and tribulations of the day. And have a look at this for a wrecked car race between Oscar Dobbins and Jason Snedden. I mean, I'm frankly amazed Dobbins has had a break from things going wrong, because it's been one of those kind of days so far. Up in 14th place as it stands, just in front of Snedden, who has also had that crash through turn 5, and the two are not particularly looking to work together to come through the field in a major way, because they're already so far off the lead, but they are fighting it out for 14th.
Sorry, I'm jumping on to David Carney there. He's had an accident in the pit lane. He's actually crashed into the wall on the way into the pit. So David Carney, he's going to have a much longer pit stop than anyone else. But yeah, these two, it's all borderline wreckfest. I mean, I understand Dobbins looking for an extra bit of weight reduction on his car, but completely removing the front aerodynamics, potentially not the best strategy to make it to the end of the race. It has been a tough race for Dobbins, as I've said. He's had more incidents than any other driver in the field so far, so he is very much on damage limitation while carrying a heavily damaged car. And I think Snedden is just going to bide his time and look for an overtake. Snedden, of course, as well having a difficult race. He qualified in pole position, and he's currently running in 15th place, while Bihager, Pattison, Douglas and Meader are running away with it up at the top. And in fact, Matt Webber looking to put us all in our place and show us he can in fact get some overtakes done, although that is very close to the track limits there for Webber. Not sure how much grip he's going to have on that outside curb in there, as he is being followed down. Who's that behind him? Yeah, Simon just behind him, and he is absolutely sandwiched. I tell you, I was talking about Webber getting overtake done. It looks like Simon is the best positioned out of them all. He is absolutely piling the pressure on these two. What Matt Webber does go past on the back straight, but here comes Simon following him. He is going to come through as well, so they both get their way past Jay Stern nice and easily and head down the hill. But certainly Simon looking very, very quick in that McLaren through the twisty stuff. The Mustang getting it done on the straights as you would expect. But at the moment, Webber feeling all kinds of pressure. And again, this is one of these situations, you would think these two potentially we'd be looking to somehow work together, try and stay nice and close, get a bit of slipstream going between the both of them to try and catch up to the drivers ahead, because at the moment Lewis Buhagiar is absolutely running away with it. He's 27 seconds ahead of Patterson and Douglas, with Meader a further 10 seconds down on Patterson. Webber and Simon separated by 1.5 seconds as they tear their way through the very hilly first sector, and they're coming up, I believe, onto some more traffic as well, just to make it that extra little bit interesting for them.
Well, that's Mader, who's in fourth place, so that is a fight for position. Matt Webber has gone from defence to attack here, and to be fair, the defence was induced by a bit of lap traffic that slowed him down for a little while, but now that he's got past that, he should be on his way to fourth place here pretty comfortably, on the way towards the chicane, outside line. He's not going to have this easy. Mader will keep the inside, but second part Webber will have, and through he goes. Now the exit interesting, the Ferrari looking back to the inside. If he can stay alongside there, that could get very interesting, and indeed he's gone past already through the final turn. Very good racing between the two as they go side by side, and Simon maybe tries to take both of them here down the inside for Tim Simon. In the end, Webber pulls in front of them both and manages to stay in front. That was great racing between them all, but a very efficient from Matt Webber there to get up into fourth place so quickly, because he could have got dragged into a real fight there, but he won't do now, because he's gotten past those two and he's put them both in the rearview mirror pretty quickly.
Yeah. That was some phenomenal driving there, almost going three wide there. Tim Simon looked like he was getting a free pass up in the fourth position, and Webber said, no, not today, baby puppy, let me just hold on. Oh, and that's a big contact between the two of them, and it's ended up taking them both off, and that has put Simon through. That's Mader and Webber, that have made contact. A clumsy contact at first view there. I think the stewards will have a look at that. Certainly the first view we got, it looked to be a bit clumsy between the two of them, and Tim Simon has indeed said thank you very much. Oh, now there's a bit of a connection issue there for Webber, blinking in and out of the server. I wonder if that contributed to that, but that, Oscar Dobbins with another back-to-back off track as well on the timing tower there. But yeah, Simon, third driver, often the best position, and Simon was the best position there. And Matt Webber, what we were saying earlier, Ewan, it's certainly coming to pass. He can lead from the front, but occasionally often when he's looking to make his way through the traffic, just not quite getting the overtakes done. Samuel Mader putting up a stout defence, and it's ended up costing them both hugely, because Simon is already 1.5 seconds ahead of both of them, and Drew Collins is getting dragged into this fight as well now.
Well, yeah, he's just caught them because of all the fighting going on here for fourth position. Mader forced on the defensive again here with Collins, who was second behind Webber when they both stopped, by the way, so it's not unexpected that he shouldn't be too far away here from the likes of Matt Webber. We're really in these last 10 laps waiting to see whether anybody who come on under the safety car actually has to come in again here or not. But here comes Collins on the back straight, straight through on Mader. I think this is going to be pretty comfortable down the hill, and indeed it is, in towards the chicane. Drew Collins up into sixth place then, in front of Samuel Mader. Then you've got Matt Webber, Tim Simon. But the question remains here, Boone, with 12 laps to go, whether the leaders have to come in. Lewis Buhagiar's leading by nearly 30 seconds, and so if he doesn't have to come in, then he's well on his way to a victory. But after what we saw at Adelaide, where some of those guys did have to come in again, who pitted under the safety car, I'm not willing to call it just yet. Not sure quite which way this race is going to go, whether Buhagiar is going to have to stop again.
Oh, I'm absolutely not ready to call it just yet, because look at how carefully and how gingerly and how fuel-savingly Lewis Buhagiar is driving here. He's just bleeding huge chunks of time out to Tim Pattinson at various points on the track. There have been laps that have gone by in the last 5 laps or so where he's lost close to a second lap, and obviously if he keeps losing time at that margin, he's still going to win the race. But what it indicates to me is that he's going to be very, very, very close on fuel if he can make this, and that's where all the drama in this race for the win is going to be the rest of the way.
Well, he's got 11 laps to do it now as Bahadja. Last lap, 19.1. Quicker than the rest of the top four, but not quicker than Matt Webber, who was the only driver last time round in the 18s. We'll see whether he is again as he catches up to Tim Simon here. As he comes over the line, you expect this to be quick from Webber again. And it is a mid-18, goodness me. About half a second quicker than anybody else in this race, and nearly a second quicker than Tim Simon. But he's got to use his efficiency now, John, as far as overtaking is concerned. He was initially on Sam, who made it very efficient, but he wasn't able to keep that fourth place and really distance Tim Simon, which I think he does need to do in this race, because Simon has not got bad speed at all and he is continuing to be a thorn in Matt Webber's side.
Yep, he is indeed. The McLaren, it's certainly not one for chasing, and just as was about to formulate a theory, Webber, he's not quite close enough to go up the inside. He's certainly signalling, but Simon holding on to it for the moment. But yeah, Simon, through the twisty stuff, he's more than matching Webber in the Mustang. The Mustang certainly, again, got the advantage in a straight line, but Simon, it does seem, has the advantage through the twisty stuff. Our championship leader, a whole 1 point. He won't be the championship leader if the race ends like this. Bahadja is going to go a long way to getting himself up the field. There is the onboard shots of Webber as we come through the chicane and up the hill, under the tunnel, back down the hill we go. The McLaren looking absolutely planted, getting a solid exit there, and Matt Webber is going to have to start building again. Yep, he's not got many laps left. We've got 9 laps left to go to try and get an overtake to get himself, and this is only to get himself up to 4th place, which is back to where he started in qualifying. So overall, it looks like he's trying to get himself, back to a net no loss, no gain position. But that's certainly not what you need when your main championship rival is leading the way and looking to bring home a total points all. Just as I've been waxing lyrical about Simon's control of that McLaren, he makes the merest of mistakes, and Matt Webber is going to sail past. Although that is damage on the front, I believe, or is that a really fancy paint job that looks like damage?
I think there is some damage, yeah.
Yeah, so he is carrying a bit of damage aerodynamically, but yeah, Webber, yeah, no slouch. He's spotted a mistake there by Simon, and that puts him indeed back up to 4th position. He's got a fair bit to make up to Douglas, so Douglas and Pattinson, 2 silvers on the podium. You absolutely love to see it. And Matt Webber currently in 4th, and Simon now, after that mistake, in fact, he's lost so much time, it looks like Drew Collins is now coming knocking once again, so Simon could be going into full defensive mode as Webber tries to take off. He's got 8 laps to make up 5 seconds to get himself onto the overall podium. That might be a bit of a big ask even for someone with Webber's pace and talent, I would say, Ewan.
Yep. Yeah, it's big margins at the front now. Even with this amount of time remaining, nobody budging as far as pit stops are concerned. We're not seeing them at the moment. Sneddon just got past Jay Stern for 13th place, so he's continuing to recover. But again, that's a very big gap in front of him. Collins will try and follow Webber through now on Tim Simon, who, as we've commented, does have a little bit of front end damage there, but I'm not sure that will be affecting him too much. How about this drive from Drew Collins here tonight, Boone? It's been a fantastic drive as far as I can see. I mean, he is kept closest to Matt Webber here of anybody, really. I know there's lots of people in front of him at the moment, but Collins is on the same strategy as Webber, kept closer than almost anybody I've seen this season, to be honest.
It's been a phenomenal drive from Drew. Oh, I'm sorry.
You go,
Boone, go ahead.
You're a pit strategist.
Okay, yeah, it's been a phenomenal drive from Drew Collins today, and he's certainly been the second best car on what we would call the conventional strategy behind Matt Webber. It's a position that we haven't seen Drew in all that often this season, but I don't know if it's just he's unlocked a new gear in this Mercedes or if he's just a big fan of Road Atlanta, but he's been right with Matt Webber this entire race. He's been consistently setting among the 3 fastest times along with Bahadja and Webber, and this has probably been the best performance that we've seen out of Collins is in his entire time in TRL. If these guys in the front start to run out of fuel or start to have to fuel save more efficiently, then Drew Collins, along with Matt Weber, is going to be in a position to benefit.
Yeah, let's see if he can follow Weber's footsteps now and get past Tim Seibern in towards the chicane. Oh, maybe not. Oh, there we go. There we go. In towards the chicane. No, he's not going to be able to do it here. It's too far away. But and this is where the efficiency of Matt Weber really coming through the field has really taken place. As you were mentioning earlier here, John, I mean, Douglas and Pattinson are not especially expected to be in the top 3 by the end of one of these races. But 7 laps to go now as they cross the line. Does Matt Weber have even the chance to rectify that? I think maybe he does to get into 3rd, but it looks like Tim Pattinson can hang on as well, as long as he doesn't have to stop again.
Yeah, Pattinson and Douglas will be absolutely delighted with their progress through the field. As we can see, a combined 20 positions they have gained. Pattinson matching Buhagiar for that 7 spots up the field. Douglas, 13 spots he has taken. He has gone past Silvers, he has gone past Pros. He's got himself on 2nd in the Silver podium, and he's got himself onto the overall podium as well. He has got 5 laps to hold a 3.5 second gap over one of the championship leaders and main protagonists and quickest drivers on the track. So he has got a bit of work to do, but certainly, I mean, if I was Kyle Douglas, and this is why I commentate and don't race probably, but I would certainly just be looking to hang on to the end. And if Matt Weber does appear behind me, I'm going to let him go past. I'm taking 2nd anyway. There's no way he's catching Pattinson. Pattinson has got the foot down. He's got a 7-second gap. It would take an almighty upset for Pattinson to lose the place to Douglas. So for Douglas at the moment, I would say finishing on the silver podium absolutely his top priority at the moment. And Weber, 5 laps, 3.5 seconds to make up. I tell you what, let's have a look at the last lap times for them both. Oh, no, it's pretty close. In fact, Douglas 3/10 quicker, Drew Collins 8/10 quicker than Weber. So at the moment, Weber is not even close to the quickest driver at the top of the field. Buhagiar and Pattinson in those 19.3s, and Weber almost with a 1:20. So those 1:18s he was popping in at the start of the stint, they are a dim and distant memory for him now. And speaking of dim and distant memories, Tim Seibern is looking to jog our memory once again of his overtaking abilities. He's still within a second. In fact, he's just rocketed to within half a second of Drew Collins heading up the hill. This could be a potential overtake that we see. Oh, and just as I was talking about the pace though, Ewan, that is Weber within 2.5 seconds. If you were Kyle Douglas here, Ewan, what would you be doing if Weber appears? Are you putting up a battle and potentially, I mean, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, is the thinking that I'm going for here. Are you putting up a fight with Matt Weber to hold on to overall 3rd, or are you just delighted that you've carved your way through the field, made up double figures worth of overtakes, and got yourself onto the class podium?
I must say I've never heard about that saying about birds in hands and bushes, or whatever that is.
My goodness, I am old. Thank you very much for that, Ewan. I appreciate that.
I'm not trying to really understand what that means, but anyway, I think though too, you know, the main point is that I think we're absolutely at the stage of the race now where Douglas should be defending from Weber if/when he gets there. There's still 4 laps to go when they get to the line here at 4.5 technically, if you count where they are. Collins, meantime, having to defend from Seibern. I wasn't expecting to see that, to be honest. I thought Collins will be able to get away, but that's not happening at the moment. Yeah, I think Douglas should defend as well for this 3rd position, because you know, what other chance is he going to get to finish 3rd in this season? It's going to be very, very difficult. He pitted under the safety car, did Kyle Douglas, and actually either sped on pit lane or did something, because his pit stop was more than a minute, but it didn't matter because it was under safety car. Since then, he's driven very, very well, and surely you've got to give this. It doesn't matter that the championship contender is right behind you. You know, you've got your own interest to preserve here, surely, if you're Kyle Douglas, and try and keep on the podium, as far as I can see.
Yeah, to be fair, when I raced at the Nürburgring once, I did manage to make my way past 32 pros and silvers while I was in the AM, and I can confirm I did defend for my life to hold on to my overall top 15 position. So yeah, from Douglas, Yeah, 3 laps to go, 1.3 seconds. He is, well within his rights to try and fend off the advances of Webber, and it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a close one here, judging by the pace.
Yeah,
And they are
it's
very
just over a
close
second.
indeed.
It's just over a second between the two of them now. Before we get to the fight, Boone, just a bit of a roundup on strategy here with 3 laps to go. It looks like the guys who pitted under the safety car are going to make it. So the ghosts of what happened to Adelaide not seeming to come to the fore, particularly for this time around. But do you think the fact that those guys pitted under safety car here and potentially could occupy the top 3 positions and indeed 8 of the top 10, do you think that could change the way that safety cars are viewed and indeed what people do under the safety cars in future? Because it was not everybody, in fact it was a minority of drivers who came in this time round, but it's turned out to be the right strategy.
I think it's always going to vary by track whether or not it's going to be the right strategy, but given the amount of laps we did early on under the safety car, and I think it was certainly the right strategy today. And there's always going to be drivers who want to take risks, who are going to try to change things up on the pit strategy. So I think whether or not it's the right strategy at any given track in the future schedule, there are always going to be a handful of drivers who try to just mix it up on pit strategy, come in early when there's a caution like that. It's as we've got some kind of an incident there. It looks like in front of Matt Webber, I think we had a car in the wall on the left side of the track. I'm not sure who that was, but
Greg Goodfellow.
Oh dear, yeah.
Oh,
there we go.
hard hit for the sister TKR-Mustang of Greg Goodfellow. Not sure what led to that one, but his race.
Same curve that
Now,
killed Webber, that killed our pole sitter earlier. Snedden, it's exactly the same curve that killed Snedden and a few of the other drivers. So yeah, that's certainly on a very hot track. That has been a very hot spot for the drivers to contend with, and it's heating up at the front as well.
That was good defence there from Carl Douglas on Matt Webber, who had a go for the first time there into the chicane. Only 2 laps to go here, John. Not much time for him to actually work on this, and that was good defending from Douglas. He is going to fight this, and fair play to him as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Like you say, an overall podium is within his grasp, and that is... it's no mean feat for the silver drivers, having been in a lower class. It's always good. As having been a lower class driver my entire sim career, if you could call it a career, the blood will be pumping at the moment, because it is Matt Webber that's chasing him down. It's the championship leader, multi-time pole sitter, championship winner. He's got all the accolades, but does he have the ability to get himself past this pesky little Porsche on the exit? The Mustang is going to be very quick. I mean, the Porsche just runs a little bit deep there. Does Douglas, using as much width on the track, and he gets an absolute rocket of an exit. But here comes the Mustang where it flourishes in a straight line in the slipstream. Is he going to be able to close this gap? And I tell you what, Kyle Douglas's exit there out the double right-hander was an absolute worldie, because Webber is nowhere near close enough to get the overtake done here. He's certainly looking and probing and poking it away at Douglas's defence. He's going to make him work for it all the way to the end, that is for sure. But Douglas certainly looks like he is well equipped to fend that off. But in the meantime, there has been a white flag waved, and unsurprisingly it has been waved for Lewis. Got his strategy absolutely bang on this week. Behadjar, who is going to take a championship lead if he can finish this lap. He's got a 34-second gap. Oh, Collins is getting involved in this battle as well. It's a 3-way battle now. I tell you what, Matt Webber's got himself a difficult situation here. He wants on the podium, but he also wants to fend off Drew Collins here.
Yeah, it's going to be a real balancing act for Webber. We'll get back to that as they come towards the end of the race, but Lewis Behadjar is going to come up towards the line here in a moment to take victory at Road Atlanta in the Tasman Racing League Road Series. He gets to halfway with the championship lead after winning here tonight. It's his 3rd victory of the season. Meantime, can Webber limit the damage? Drew Collins gets past him, and it looks like this is turning from bad to worse for Matt Webber. The wrong strategy made earlier on, although it wasn't so obvious at the time. It's come back to bite him now. And Drew Collins, who's on the same strategy as him, looks like he's going to beat him here. So Webber all of a sudden looking like he's going to lose this. Douglas breaks deep into the chicane. He's going to get his podium, and Collins does get through. Collins gets through into 4th. Webber's down to, and that's Tim Simon just in behind. He very nearly got down the inside. Webber will at least hold on for a top 5, but that is a real marker at the halfway stage of this season. Webber has not won in 3 weeks after dominating the first 2 rounds of the championship, and he goes in without the championship lead. That is a big surprise.
Huge surprise there. What a race. Who thought Road Atlanta would be this much of a hotspot? I did say it is very much the American Brands Hatch. It's a short, twisty, tight track, very short laps, and some very hilly, a lot of undulation over the track, and it's certainly thrown the drivers absolutely all over the place. We've only got a couple left to cross the line there, Jace down, but huge congratulations not only to Lewis Bahadja, but of course Tim Patterson and Kyle Douglas taking themselves overall podiums from the silver class. An absolutely outstanding drive by them. And yeah, Webber, we were surmising, is he going to take himself a position on the last lap? And indeed, the answer was no, he's going to lose a position on the last lap to see him down to 5th after starting up in 4th position. Absolutely incredible. As we hopefully get the race results up there and confirmed on screen, Ewan.
Yeah, it's Lewis Bahadja who wins by 37 seconds in front of Tim Pattinson and Kyle Douglas, who is also on the podium tonight. Drew Collins gets up to 4th place, with Matt Webber ending up just behind him. Tim Simon very nearly getting through there as well. Samu Maeda was on the lead lap along with Stephen Scully and Martin Walker. Ben Christian rounded out the top 10. Jack Tovey was 11th in front of Brady Daff, Jason Snedden, the pole sitter, Darren Justice and Jay Stern, then running out the top 15. 2 laps down for Manuel Dodder, Rafael Custodio, Rob Tilley, AJ Gilroy. David Carney rounded off the top 20. 3 laps down, Greg Goodfellow got a late penalty there, dropped to 21st. Oscar Dobbins retired, so did Jordan Nelson, Darrell O'Sullivan and Nicholas Heath all out of the race. Let's have a chat then, shall we, to the podium drivers of tonight, starting with Lewis Bahadja, who has won from Road Atlanta. Lewis, welcome in, congratulations on a race victory tonight from Road Atlanta. Talk us through the pit strategy first of all. The safety car came out immediately, and you seemed to decide immediately that you wanted to come in and make use of that. What was the reasoning behind that? Was it something you knew you were going to do before the race, or was it instinctive?
Yeah, it was pretty instinctive there. Just jump in. Knew you could get enough fuel to run the race on one pit stop from lap 1. So, yeah, just jump in, take all your fuel, and then just try and sit not too far behind the leaders because you're going to be a bit slower, full of fuel, and yeah, just maintain the gap once they go in.
Just to tell us what this means for the season, because after 2 weeks, I thought this was going to be a runaway lead for Matt Webber. In the end, it's turned out not to be like that. And in fact, you've won the last 3 races in a row now. So what were you expecting after the first 2 rounds for this season to be at this stage?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be fairly close. I knew that I had to put my stuff together and, really pull my head in and have a real go and try my best. And the last couple of weeks seem to be paying off.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that and on the win tonight, indeed. And thanks for coming to chat to us after the race as well.
Thanks for that. Thanks for all the broadcast, and thanks to Hybrid Sim Sports.
Thanks very much. That is Lewis Bahadja, who wins tonight from Road Atlanta in front of Tim Pattinson, who finishes in 2nd place and joins us as well. Tim, welcome in. Congratulations on a 2nd place finish tonight, up 7 places for you as well after qualifying in 9th. Just tell us about your race a little bit. We didn't actually see very much of you, but again, the pit strategy working out for you very, very well. How was the race?
I think not seeing me is probably not a bad thing if it results in being in the top 3 of the race. So, race went pretty well. It was all about that safety car and just diving for the pit lane as soon as it was open. So, just made the most of it. And I was very lucky to have a great spotter in Dale Vaughan guiding me through the race who couldn't be on the grid tonight. So, very lucky to have my Send It teammates looking out for me.
We'll move you up in the championship, of course, with your first top 5 of the season. Just tell us how the season has been for you so far. How have you been finding it?
Honestly, I didn't have very many expectations for this season. Work is very hectic for this season of iRacing, so just jumping on with very low expectations, and for some reason everything seems to be working, especially on a night like tonight. I've just driven 4 hours back from Bathurst back home today for the weekend, so apparently not doing much practice or anything other than driving a road car seemed to do the job.
Yeah, it certainly does. Well, congratulations on finishing second from Road Atlanta tonight, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Thank you very much. My biggest issue is I've got to go wake the 7-year-old boy up, Nathan, and tell him I came in the top 5, which is part of our deal. And just wanted to say a big happy birthday to my girl, Maddie, who turned 5, and a big thank you to my wife for letting me come out here, given I've been away for the last few days, and coming to have a race, which is pretty awesome. So thanks to my family for letting me do it. And this one's for you.
Absolutely excellent. Tim Patterson, second place here tonight from Road Atlanta in the TRL Road Series. Let's go to the bottom step of the podium now. And Carl Douglas, who was involved in that late battle as we were watching, but holds on for a podium. Carl, welcome in and congratulations indeed on holding on to a podium there. You had Matt Webber, the championship leader at the time, right behind you. And I sensed, it was about 3 or 4 laps ago when he was first, properly behind you. And you could probably call it a fight. And I sensed, even from that moment, that you were going to absolutely try your very best to keep him and the rest of them behind you to the very end of the race to hang on for this podium. What were those final few laps like?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, my heart is still pounding right now. Having Matt behind you is not the best. But yeah, I'm really happy that I managed to keep him behind me. Did you grab any of that?
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, on you go, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I thought I was cutting out, but it's but it's not. But just as well, Carl, just tell us about your season as well, because 8th place in the point standings coming into this. So you've had a couple of top 5s so far, and this will no doubt move you up in the championship as well. How have you been finding it in TRL this season?
Yeah, I've been really enjoying it here. Competition's pretty good. I've found my footing, so I'm pretty happy.
Well, congratulations again on finishing on the podium here from Road Atlanta tonight, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks very much. Carl Douglas, third place from Road Atlanta tonight as well. Well, that just about does it for us here tonight from Road Atlanta, and indeed the first half of the TRL Road Series this season. Boone, I mean, that race was... I've got to say, one of the more exciting of the 5 so far. I thought the strategy, though, had more of an impact than maybe it has in the past. 8 of the top 10 in the end pitted under that safety car. And as we briefly touched on a little bit in the race, I do wonder if that's going to change everyone's thinking going forward.
I think it very well might, because we didn't know what was going to happen at the start. We thought it could be a little bit too risky of a call. We talked about Adelaide earlier in the season, but how smart that call for those drivers who came in on the early caution turned out to be. They dominated the race. Lewis Puhadra won the race by 37 seconds. What a performance from him. And it's just, I think we're going to see drivers, especially naturally as we get towards the end of the season, points get a little bit harder to come by. We're going to see everyone get a little bit more aggressive, and I think we'll see more and more drivers start to experiment with off-strategy pit cycle stuff like what we saw today.
Absolutely, and John, this was, I say, one of the more exciting rounds of this series from Road Atlanta. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and who knows what the second half of the season has got coming up, because I've got to say, this was not a scenario I was predicting after 2 rounds, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, as you say, an absolute barn burner of a round. Tasman Racing League never disappoints, and apparently neither does Road Atlanta. Certainly not the race I was expecting. I mean, after Adelaide and Phillip Island, to come to Road Atlanta and see what we've seen today, the championship absolutely turned on its head. That is a big gap that Bahadja has now got back to Matt Webber. Certainly a lot bigger than the 1 point Webber had coming into this. We've got Silvers up on the podium, and before the drivers even get to catch their breath, we've got 20 laps of the Monza Oval coming up for the mid-season classic. So like Douglas said, heart beating out the chest, but this has been an absolutely phenomenal round. I'm going to be able to get myself a McDonald's breakfast and sit and watch the race back.
Well, yeah, it's been a fantastic round 5 of the Tasman Racing League Road Series. As you mentioned, the mid-season classic is next week. After that, we'll be back to this series again for round number 6 from the VIR full course. 30 laps around there is going to be another good round of this championship as we continue the North American leg of this season. Double header, if you like, either side of the mid-season classic. So make sure you join us back for that as well. Regular season racing in 2 weeks' time, same place, of course, on TrackSpotTV. Big thanks to everyone who's been tuned in tonight. To John Wright and Boone Blake have been alongside myself. Ewan O'Leary here in the commentary box. Until we see you all again next time in the Tasman Racing League Road Series, it's goodbye for now.